everybody, I'm Luna from Luna ơi. Welcome back to my series, The Lunaist Lectures. By now, I'm sure that you've heard of the terrible new type of virus, which is starting to spread around the world. It first emerged about a month ago in a city named Wuhan in China, so it's also known as the Wuhan Coronavirus. It is a contagious virus that causes respiratory infection and has already killed over 200 people, with confirmed cases in 19 countries. And my country of Vietnam, unfortunately, is one of those 19 countries. Just like the rest of the world, my country is concerned about this virus. There's tons of news in Vietnam every day about the dangers of the virus and how to protect ourselves from it. Even me, I'm a little scared with myself. In a recent video talking about Vietnam's cyber army, I mentioned that the anti-communist groups in the internet, especially on Facebook, are spreading fake news about Vietnam. So today, I will give you some information and evidence about that. On the 13th of January, there was a Chinese couple traveled to Vietnam to meet their son, who is living here in Vietnam. On the 17th, the father got fever. 3 days later, the son also got fever. They went to hospital on 22nd. 6 hours later, we confirmed that both of them got positive to coronavirus. Since the coronavirus arrived here, our government has been doing anything it can to prevent it from spreading. And yet, by somehow, there are many Vietnamese language anti-communist groups, especially on Facebook, who are trying to turn this into a political issue. On January 29th, they made a post about Chinese tourists in Vietnam, claiming that the Vietnamese government was acting ignorantly and irresponsibly. They said, "It is so miserable for us for living in such an irresponsible country like this. If anything happens, the only thing we can do is pray. We cannot count on a government like this. Being a citizen of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam is a great misfortune." Because of the disease, there is a shortage of medical masks all over Asia. In some other countries, masks are completely unavailable, or stores are charging very high price for masks. Here in Vietnam, a company sold a mask for $1.5 when the original price is about 20 cents. Obviously, this is bad because a capitalist company was using this dangerous situation to make a profit. Well, instead of criticizing the company, they blame the government. In this post, they said, even though this was the decision of the company, it happened in a government-owned airport. Therefore, it's the Vietnamese government's responsibility. They should have managed and controlled it better. If this government can't run this country, step down so another government can do it. Wait, doesn't that mean they want more communist control over our economy? Even though they are anti-communist? It seems funny that when capitalists do something bad in Vietnam, it is used as evidence that Vietnamese communism is bad. But when the Vietnamese government does anything to restrict the capitalist exploitation, it is also used as evidence that Vietnamese communism is bad. Anyway, I actually agree with these anti-communists. Capitalist companies are a big problem in Vietnam. I wish that the Vietnamese government would kick all the greedy, exploitative capitalist companies out of the country. Then nobody would have to pay too much for masks. But of course, if we did do that, those anti-communists would turn around and say, "Vietnam is a communist dictatorship. See, they don't even allow free market." Well, sadly, it doesn't look like the government will be kicking the capitalists out of the country soon. But guess what? The government already has a law to prevent this kind of horrible price gouging in an emergency. There is a permanent law in Vietnam against hiking prices to profit from public emergencies. So what this company did in that airport was already illegal. and prices all over the country are now frozen to the normal price from before the coronavirus crisis. And of course, there are still many drugstores raise the price. And I believe that they are all gonna talk to the police sooner or later. Funny how the anti-communists didn't mention that. Okay, now let's talk about the coronavirus in Vietnam. The situation here is pretty scary, to be honest. It is winter in the north of Vietnam, and this virus is stronger in that kind of weather. That's why it's harder to deal with it in Vietnam right now. Vietnam has so far confirmed that there was 5 cases of the virus. Actually, there was 1 case got cured, so now it's down to 4. In those 4 cases, 1 is in a Chinese man from Wuhan who traveled to Ho Chi Minh City early this month, as I mentioned, and 3 are Vietnamese workers who have recently returned from Wuhan. So we have 4 cases remain, but actually they all came from Wuhan and got the virus there. So it is a bit worrying and we all need to be really careful, but it's still not so dangerous that we should be hysterical about it. Every day, I see tons of Facebook posts trying to spread disinformation about this virus. They spread fake news about virus cases in many hospitals in Vietnam. I think the purpose is to make people panic, scared, then they will get more likes and shares. And also, there are many anti-communist groups use this kind of disinformation to try to get Vietnamese people to hate the government, to make them believe that the government is useless, like they are doing nothing to control the situation and we all gonna die because of communism. And the funny thing is, all the anti-communists are trying to imply how useless and irresponsible the Vietnam government is without acknowledging how hard the government is working to control the spread of the virus. Just like many other more rich and developed countries all around the world. We tracked down all the people came from not only China, but also from other countries which have virus cases. We also find out people who had physical contact with them, then bring them all to the hospital to take blood tests. They can only go home if the test is negative. The government has already foreseen the shortages in medical supplies and already sent documents to every drugstores in the country, asking them to prepare all the necessary medical supplies and to not raise the price. If the government found out any of them have raised the price unreasonably, they will be punished severely. Well, at least we are doing something, and our efforts are certainly not useless. Vietnam is located right next to China, so the situation could escalate into a pandemic very easily. But until now, we still have only 4 cases, and all of them came directly from Wuhan. Let's check other countries in the world to see how many they have. According to this report from January 31st, China has 7,711 cases. So sad for them. Thailand have 14 cases. Malaysia 8 cases. Even in the USA, the country on the other side of the earth, there are already 6 cases. Coronavirus is dangerous. Nobody could deny that. But is this the first epidemic to happen to the human race? The answer is no. Let's look back to 2003 when SARS broke out. The whole world was shaking because of this disease. SARS had a fatality rate of 9.6% compared to the fatality rate of 2.2% for the coronavirus. And you know what? Vietnam was the very first country in the world to confirm that we contained SARS in those 45 days. Vietnam even became the example for the whole world to learn from and follow. In 2003, when a doctor reported a strange disease, Vietnam immediately did what we could to contain it. I think we can learn quite a lot of things from Vietnam, said the Pascal Boudon, a representative from WHO working in Vietnam. We pushed very strongly for the government to move and to move quickly. If it had been a case in a place much more remote, it may have been much more difficult. Unlike the Chinese, officials in Vietnam were open and quick to react. They welcomed a WHO team of international experts and began an aggressive campaign to tell the public how to avoid SARS and what to do if symptoms showed up. And it's very funny how all the anti-communist posts try to never mention this, like SARS never existed in their memories. And right at the moment when I was writing the script for this video, I received a message from Vietnam Ministry of Health and from the local government where I'm living, reporting news about coronavirus and what we should do to protect ourselves. They offer a hotline so we can report or ask for help at any time. I am not asking you to underestimate the coronavirus because even though this virus has a lower fatality rate than SARS, it is way more contagious and it is still very dangerous. What I'm asking you to do is to trust only the news with clear evidence. Do not trust every news story you hear about Vietnam. If you've watched my channel long enough, you should know that there is a lot of fake news and propaganda against Vietnam. So no matter where you live, be cautious and careful and don't panic. Please don't discount the efforts and cause panic just to satisfy your anti-communist ego. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and be sure to subscribe. See you next week. Bye bye. When I was working on this video, our government just released breaking news about they decided to ban all the flights from Vietnam to all provinces in China where they have the coronavirus, and they also banned all the flights from all the provinces in China where have the virus to Vietnam. And we also closed our border with China. Means that there's no people traveling in or out, and there's no goods or supplies go in and out the country. We are taking this problem very seriously because stopping all the flights and close the border with China is really bad for our economy, but we still did it just to protect our people's lives.